Hello and welcome to r/DontWorkHereLady. Today we have 3 great stories, so let's begin. I guess the camouflage hid the fact that I wasn't an employee. Pre-Thanksgiving food shopping. It's a nightmare. We all avoid it if at all possible, but when your plans to be a contributor to someone else's overall meal fall through 72 hours out from the main event, you adapt and overcome. Semper Gumby. Always flexible. Thus, last night I found myself pulling into my local Walmart neighborhood market, a baby version of the store with limited selection compared to the bigger stores, and no housewares or clothes or outdoor sections, only food and a few aisles of cleaning toiletry stuff. The parking lot was packed. I've never seen this little market so full of people. As I was trying to check out, there was even a woman in the self-checkout area with an entire cart packed to the brim, trying to beep herself out. But I digress. I had to go back and forth through a few rows to even find a parking spot, and chose one even though there was a cart propped up on the curb next to it. Being the good Samaritan that I am, I pulled the cart off the curb and walked it into the store, since I was going to need a cart anyway. Apparently, that's where I went terribly wrong. I approached the door at the same time that a woman arrived a few heartbeats ahead of me. I was off in my own world, plotting out the most efficient route through the aisles in order to get all the items on my list, as well as following Captain Price's orders to check those corners, because that's what all us super tactical door kicker wannabe guys who are in the military but really just work IT for the base do in our heads. Lo and behold, a wild, entitled lady appeared, not from an unchecked corner, but right in front of me. I was rocked from my reverie by the aforementioned woman grabbing my cart and trying to wrench it from my hands. I was going to refer to her as can't understand nice things, but something tells me that would be a poor choice, so I'll just stick with entitled lady, and I'll be me. Me. Excuse me, ma'am, what are you doing? Entitled lady. Taking this cart that you brought back to the store. Why did you only bring one? There's so many still left out there. I should mention at this point that the tiny market only has one entrance. The cart return area for the employees is immediately to the right inside the double doors. They push the carts in at the far end so that under normal circumstances, the carts are just a couple feet away from the sliding doors. This evening, the nearest cart in that gathering was about 15 meters down the line, which I understand can appear as though it were an insurmountable distance to cover. There were indeed many carts left in the corrals out in the parking lot, and many being used by customers actively in the store. I should also mention that I'm in the military and still in uniform, having stopped on my way home from work. That part is about to matter. Me. Well, I only need one cart, so I brought the one that was next to my car. Entitled lady, oblivious to what I said, bitchiness intensifying, hand still exerting pressure on my cart. You shouldn't be wasting time bringing one cart at a time back from the corrals. No wonder you guys only get paid minimum wage. Now let go and give me my cart. Me. Literally wearing a military uniform, look down at my chest, back up at her. Lady, I'm literally wearing a military uniform. This isn't hunting camouflage. It says U.S. Air Force on my chest. What part of this uniform makes you think I work at Walmart? Entitled lady, her eyes doing their best deer in the headlights impression, reaching peak bitchiness. Well, why can't you just give me this card and go get another? Me. Well, why can't you just walk your happy butt down there and get a cart while you enjoy a nice warm cup of shut the F up? I realized that was a bit harsh, but I was polite at the outset, only escalating my harshness to meet her bitchiness. In the moment, it was the only way I saw to feasibly break through her armor of insolence and stymie the bitchiness that seemed to drive everything she said and did. Fortunately, it worked. As in her speechless shock, her grip on the cart faltered, allowing me to break contact and enter the store to execute my shopping. Here's hoping the impromptu meal my wife and I will be cooking later this week will be worth such an interesting experience. Do I look like I work here? Wait, don't answer that. So, a bit about me. For several years, I worked for a local railroad on the East Coast. I shared a story about an incident at this railroad in another subreddit, and that reminded me of another rather funny story from my time working for the company. Okay, so a little background here. The industrial railroad section I operated served a rather large port and a handful of smaller, relatively speaking, building materials companies, including a couple of those big box types, Big Blue and Big Orange. About once a week, I was tasked with putting a carload or two, sometimes 3, of lumber and various large building materials in a siding that ran up to a dock behind one of the 2 big box stores. I think it was Big Orange, but don't hold me to that, and alongside the parking lot. Since we operated with RCO, Remote Control Operation System, I would often find myself standing in odd places watching the movement of the train while I got things positioned and whatnot. My uniform is key to the story. Battered blue jeans, steel-toed boots, long-sleeve shirt, hard hat, sunglasses, and most importantly of all, a bright reflective vest which I wore over the shirt. Oh, and the belt pack, which had all the controls for the train slung over my chest, hanging at the belt area. So I looked nothing like the usual employees of this particular store. One hot summer day, I found myself fighting with a car whose pin simply refused to drop. Got stuck up, and no amount of shaking it or cursing was going to change that, so being the intrepid sort, I decided that some percussive maintenance was in order. Yeah, I was going to beat the snot out of that thing. That'd teach it a lesson. Heading into the store, I made my way to the hardware area to find the heaviest small sledgehammer I could. That's where the stupidity begins, and it only gets worse. SC, stupid customer, M, me, PD, cops. I head down to pick up the hammer I need, only to have a lady poke me in the shoulder. SC, where are the spanners? Me, wrench? You mean wrenches? I don't know, around here somewhere. SC, well, where around here? Me, dunno, probably next aisle over. With that, I turned and walked off, the lady not impressed by such action, it would seem. SC, aren't you going to show me? You have to show me. Me, no I don't. Find someone that actually works here that can help you. I figured that was that, though the lady kept following me up front. I paid with my card, took the hammer, and started walking back through the store in the direction of the dock area, an area off limits to customers, I might add. The whole time this lady kept following me and repeating over and over again the mantra of, "You have to help me." This quickly evolved into, "If you don't help me, I'm getting you fired." I really didn't care at this point. Walking out onto the dock and then down to the track level, I overheard something of a commotion behind me and only caught some snippets of it. I assumed that it was a manager of some sort explaining I didn't work there, but I honestly don't know. It took a good 15 minutes of banging away on the pen to finally get it to drop. That meant I was all set to go, right? Oh, wait. Turning to climb from between the cars, I come face to shoe with a pair of police officers looking down at me with some very severe looks, and a couple employees watching me curiously. The cops looked ready to shoot me, smack me, or just put a good beat down on me when one spoke. PD, leave the hammer where it is and come up here to explain what you're doing. Me, my job. I work for railroad name. PD, not sounding like he believed it. And what were you doing there? Me, rusty coupling pin. I had to hammer it back into place. PD, we got a report about someone vandalizing or breaking railroad property. At this point, I pointed to the letters on my vest that spelled out the railroad's name, the belt control pack I was wearing, and produced my company identification. Even made the hornblatt for them with the belt control pack. This seemed to satisfy the officers, who turned and walked in the direction of where a couple of employees were, and the lady from before. I didn't hear what they said, but from the way the lady scuttled away, I got the impression that the officers, as we say where I'm from, put the fear of God in her. So yeah, lady assumes I work for the big box place, then realizes I don't. In an effort to get some petty revenge on me, she calls the cops on me. Not very effective. Lady recognizes me from work and demands I run her errand. I live in a town in the Great Lakes region where the quality of people has been going down since we moved here well over a decade ago. So I figured something like this was inevitable, but I'm still surprised it happened to me, as it's next level stupid. I was at Walmart getting more propane for my outdoor burner I use to melt bismuth metal, as making its crystalline state is one of my minor hobbies. As I was finishing getting it paid for at the sports section register, a lady, calling her DL for dumb lady, came up to me and asked, "I know you from M's," nicknaming the store for ambiguity. "Since you work there, could you run out there and get me some things?" This is Walmart. Walmart. Me, I'm sorry, but I don't drive yet, and our store doesn't do delivery anyways. Also, this is Walmart. I don't have time to run out. I need you to get me groceries. I'm at the point where I'm not sure how to properly respond. I have a very minor form of autism that only seems to affect my face-to-face social skills. I was raised like any other child to combat this, which I'm happy my parents did. I try my best, however, to calm the situation before it actually goes anywhere. Me, ma'am, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm not your personal grocery errand runner. I should have started with something else. DL, I don't care. Get me my groceries or I'll call the effing police or something. Wait, what? Guy at the sports register overhears at that exclamation and realizes the two of us look nothing alike, and I'm assuming he knows immediately at this point what's going on, as if he's dealt with it before. Apparently because he did, we'll call him GG for good guy. GG, miss, please back off before I involve management. This is the second time this week. DL snaps her head in his direction like a banshee. Tell this man to go and get me my groceries. Hold on. First she knows me from a different chain. Now she's yelling at a Walmart employee to make me go to said chain and get groceries for her there. Me, ma'am, you're literally at a grocery store right now. Can you please stop causing a scene? You're making me more uncomfortable than I already am. DL, no, this place has bad service anyways. You know what? I'm speaking to the manager and getting both of you fired. GG and I exchange the most flabbergasted faces. GG, he doesn't work here, miss. I don't know what's going on, but shut up, you SOB. I'm getting your manager. DL runs off screaming profanities to who knows where. GG and I continue to stand with our jaws hanging. Sure, this town sucks, but this lady is a vacuum. Since I have my groceries paid for and in a bag, I speed walk to the car and my dad comes by a minute later and we get in to leave. I didn't want the confrontation to escalate any further, but I hope nothing bad happened after I left. I never heard anything from that particular scene after the day. I spotted DL a few days later at work from the other end of the building and she looked like she was hunting me down like a sniper of some sort. I slipped out of DL's field of view and tell a manager about the previous confrontation with her, and they say I can help out in the back room until she leaves. Later, I hear DL found our management and began screaming nonsense at them. She eventually got physical and started pushing them, at which point DL was arrested and banned. I haven't seen her since. Management was reluctant to believe me about her at first because of just how stupid someone would have to be to do what she did, but they bought all of it after that. I tried asking what DL said to them, but they just said not to worry about it as they handled it already. And no, nobody in this story was injured. I don't scar easily, but this stuck well in my head, and I don't retell it much, but it is a fun story to tell in larger groups to get a wider reaction. Edit. Thanks for the gold and the upvotes. I didn't realize this would blow up so much. I appreciate it. I hope you all have an amazing day and stay safe out there.